And our second main topic for today comes from Matt, Dr. Positive Snell. He says, I'm very disappointed, but I can't use the mouse and keyboard, which is supported by the iPad Pro, but not Stadia, as I can't use another controller as I have a disability. That's short-sighted by Stadia, leaving some players out who can only use a mouse and keyboard. So I guess Stadia is not for me, as no mouse and keyboard support is nuts, as iPad and iOS now support mouse and keyboard. Stadia and all gaming cloud services should have sorted out mouse and keyboard support before launch, as to not leave out players who can't use controllers. Get this 21st century, and still they forget to offer support to all players. Well, thank you very much for the topic, Dr. Snell. I do have to agree. That was one of the most disappointing things. And listen, I don't have a disability when it comes to mouse and keyboard or anything like that. However, I'm kind of the opposite direction. I tend to prefer to play only on controller. I went for a run with my daughter a few years ago, and I tripped and I fell and I broke my elbow. And now I can't turn, like, this hand I can make nice and flat. This hand does not go flat, and it doesn't go that way either. Like, if I want to flip my hand around on my right hand side, I can. On my left hand side, that's as far as it goes. And so using WASD, using the keyboard to play video games, is actually quite painful. So I do understand what you mean, although I'm sure not to the extent that you have to deal with it. So I very much prefer to use a controller. However, when iOS support first came officially to Safari on iOS for Stadia, I was very, very excited. Mostly because I was like, oh man, that means that I can play Baldur's Gate 3 wherever I want. And I still can. I can still play Baldur's Gate 3 sitting at the kitchen table or the living room if I want, but I have to use a controller because it doesn't support mouse and keyboard. Now iOS does support mouse and keyboard. In fact, I use a mouse and keyboard on iOS all of the time. But now, what I was hoping is that it would just recognize it as mouse and keyboard. But basically, and I don't know if this is the fault of Stadia. I don't know if fault is really the word. I don't know if this is something that is Stadia's responsibility or if it's an overall iOS thing. You have to remember that what's being sent to you when you are playing these games is essentially just a video of you playing, which is the craziest thing in the world. But you're just seeing a video. And the way that iOS interprets a video is that it's not really an interactable thing. Now, I don't know if this is something that can be fixed by Apple, in which case that's never going to happen, or if this is something that can be fixed by Stadia. But because we're essentially playing a video, then mouse and keyboard support does not work. So I sat down to test out Baldur's Gate 3 on my iPad, and if I want to play with a controller, I can, but if I want to play with a keyboard and mouse, I'm out of luck. And that's just really, really too bad, because that is a game where, if you ask me, the absolute best experience is playing with a mouse and keyboard. Now, it's a turn-based game, and you don't really have to have your hand on the keyboard too much when you're playing. So, me having my injury on my left elbow, it's not really that big a deal when it comes to playing a game like Baldur's Gate 3 on my iPad. But I have no choice but to use the controller if I want to play Baldur's Gate 3 on my iPad. I do not like playing Baldur's Gate 3 with a controller. So I agree. I would really, really like to see better mouse and keyboard support on iOS, but I don't know if that is something that Stadia can fix, or if it's something that Apple can fix. If it's something that Stadia can fix, then I think eventually will get that fixed. I think eventually that kind of thing will be addressed. But if it's something that Apple has to fix, they have absolutely zero motivation to do so. They don't get anything from you using their device to play Stadia. They don't get any of the sale. If you bought the game on your computer and then you're playing it on iOS, they don't get any of that money. Sure, they do make money on the hardware, but they also want to make money on the other end too. You know, it's kind of a long tail thing. They have that big revenue when you first buy that hardware, but then there's the long tail revenue that comes from all of their the purchases that happen on the App Store or the services that you subscribe to, like iCloud or Apple TV Plus or Apple Fitness, which I actually kind of want to check out. But they don't get anything from you using Stadia on there. So they're not really motivated in order to address that particular topic. So here's my question to all of you, and you can leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can let me know, are you interested in mouse and keyboard support on iOS, or would you just prefer to only use controller? And is this something that is a deal breaker for you with Stadia or a deal breaker for you with Apple? Let me know in the comment section down below.